Yeah, right. So we're back. Great. Now, this book is published by, sorry, what was your name, brother? Samir. Yeah, and Samir's offered to anyone. It's based on astrotheology, yeah? Yeah. Inspired by syncretism?
Yeah.
So it's called Indigo Fund. So, and you sent me one a while ago. I've got it at home in storage.
Yeah.
But this one's for anyone who would like to, you know, have it, gift it to someone, and it's a gift. So yeah, pass it around. If you'd like to give it to someone, you know, you give them inspiration towards syncretism. So let's do a few question and answers, and ease into the subject from that point. David.
Yeah, I was wondering if you could speak a bit more about, you were talking about with magnetism, how, I believe you said everything starts with magnetism, but I wanted to know more about why magnetism is in motion and why that's feminine, considered feminine.
Yeah, because that needs to be addressed, because the male action principle is normally considered to be male.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, and they will say, and it is, it works both ways. Everything's interchangeable. This is this. So the proton, according to Walter Russell, is the electron. It's just that when it's expanding and it hits wave amplitude, then it has nothing but to go back to the other tropic, Cancer to Capricorn. All the time, that's the work of the wave. So, you know, normally they'll tell you that this part, the black part of the yang, what do they say that is? Masculine or feminine?
Masculine.
Yeah. And what do they say about the white? Feminine, yeah? That would be the yin and that would be the yang, is that correct? Mm-hmm. Well, that's Krishna and that's Radharani. That's dielectricity and that's magnetism. That's how it works. And then the Korean flag has another version, which is so it's got blue here. I think the blue will override. Okay, you look at the Korean flag here, and it's red and blue. And there's two yin and yangs. Well, the first one is the highest part of the Godhead. It's dielectricity and magnetism. They are separate, co-eternal principles, and they do not need electricity, the Son of God. They don't need it. Because everything in the dielectric magnetic world, black and white, it's all perfect. It's all complete. This is the world of transition, temporal world. See the hourglass? Temporal. Tempo is time, is Chronos, is Saturn. Saturn, the Grim Reaper. Time, old man time. Timmy. Timmy and Tommy. It's time. You see? Tempo means hold the tempo. Yeah? If you don't hold the tempo, your band members won't, you know, it'll be a mess. So it's a temporal world based on time and these pulses. The red and blue, this is what they call electromagnetism. But I would say, well, it is electromagnetism, definitely. It's the right word, but it's just, it's hiding. You see, all right, let's see how we get from the black and white yin and yang to the red, the inferior. For me, the black and white is the source, the monad. Yeah, I was going to show these before. You see all the bulb? Yeah, doesn't that look like a torus field? It's a torus field. There's the bulb, the bulb. Yeah. So have a look at the Godhead. Oh, we're going to look at numbers, bulb, and letters, tor, in a minute. Let's have a look at okay, where did I put that? There it is. It was already there. Numbers. This is the monad. See? Atum, that's all it means. The one. It's the one. It's the monad. Same word, atone, to make at one. When you make something at one, you see atom is right there. The monad is backwards for Adam. You see, Adam is another way of saying atum. T and D are interchangeable, very important interchangeable. And so are M and N. See, T and D, they're always in the red. Because they are redshift words. P and B, these are blue shift words on the bold side. Yes, words are blue shift and red shift. Yeah, you just heard it. There are red shift words and there are blue shift words. And you can change the meaning of a word just by exercising red shift, blue shift. Whole. Someone who is whole is holy. But when you interchange R and L, now you have someone who is compromised. Yeah? You see that red is rage. It always degrades the word. It's redshift. Rage, redshift. And you'll find this in English all the time. Balm, alm, arms of peace, or arms of war. R and L are always interchangeable, red and blue, right and left. That's when you get the R and L, in all languages. My second wife was Japanese, and her R's would be like an L. Really? Like a really? They would say, rather than really. It's like, really? Okay, it's right there. It's in the east, it's in the west, it's everywhere. These are, because that's how the torus works. Why is R and L so special? Well, they're liquids. Let me do this roti R properly, because speaking Italian and Spanish, you need to know this one. The English R does not serve the English-speaking people. But never mind, it's okay. They need to learn how to roll their R's. It's not a good day today. I only had 2 hours sleep. What's so special about the R is it's the only letter that pulsates. It's the pulsating letter. All the other liquids, they are all electrical, they are all feminine, and they are all closing, converging. You see? The other letters, that's why it's there. Adum and atum, because it's percussive. It's not a liquid. You can't prolong it, right? So you've got these liquids, and the R, which is 18, is a pulsating letter, whereas the L is flatlining. And you will hear this in electricity all the time. You'll hear the letters of creation if you listen to electricity arcing. It's noise, it's sound, it's power, it's consciousness, everything is conscious.
Are these interchanging in the words? Does it correlate with numerology too? Like if you're going to name a company, right, and they say, well, you need to put this letter in or this extra thing to have the right package or whatever. Does it have the same thing? Is it having to do with this
Rest
whole
assured,
concept?
all those letters in their corporate logos, they've been Kabbalistically chosen, brother. You don't have numbers or letters, like Starbucks, Cafe, McDonald's. You don't mess around with this science. You get the right word embedded in your motto of your company. It will either succeed or fail. It's all astrological. If you have
that has to do with what you're talking about, like with these interchanging words, or how that if you interchange things, it can change the whole dynamic, right?
Think of how letters are powerful. If you want to cool something that's hot, you do the letter F. If you want to make something hot, the letter H. It's in the word.
In the word.
When you're meditating, when you breathe, do you just meditate, or do you do guttural, like breath, or from the back of the throat, aspiring kind of, or like, these are all letters. In the East, they say when you breathe and you do a breathe out, you are cooling the liver or whatever. When you do a, they've got 6 or 7 different letters that you breathe out when you're doing yoga, and they all adjust your organs. It's the letters are the frequency. See? Remember, letters are qualities, numbers are quantities. You can't hear a number. There's one thing in my hand. Can you hear it? No, but letters, well, they have to be heard. They can never be silent. There's only one silent letter. It's silence, isn't it? Full stop. Only that it's the full stop. A period mark. You know? Because what's going on here is this is numbers and this is letters. Tors is letters. Rest assured. T-E-R on the word letter is tor. That's how it works. You'll be absolutely totally convinced of it if you've done enough. And you see all these slides that I have to confirm this. So what you'll find is that when you learn how the R makes, and not always, sometimes the R is the good one and the L is not the loving one. Sometimes L converts the word badly. You know? Let me think of some other words that might...
evil.
Hey?
Evil. Evil. Evil.
Evil and evil.
Eval. Has an L in the word evil.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
No, I'm talking about the interchangeable of L and R and how it changes, goes from good word to bad word, like whore and hole.
Yeah.
When you look at words from now on in the letter R and it's a spot there for the L, you'll see how it flips its polarity.
Got it.
Because words are red shift, blue shift, and so are letters. And L is blue shift. But then it will act as red shift. Remember, the red and blue yin and yang, they're just a copy of the blue and black. They're doing the same thing, manifesting, but in a vibratory way, in a transverse way. That's all that is. Polarity. That's why you have red pill, blue pill. Republicans are red, Democrats are blue. Roses are red, violets are blue. Red blood, blue blood. The red siren, blue siren. Cold water, hot water tap. You know, it's white. And why isn't it not green and purple? Because it doesn't express polarity. The rainbow tells you one end's red, the other end's the blue colours. Everything in nature is shifted either red or blue, and all the space in between is the manifest world.
So yeah, black and white in Portuguese is branco e preto. There's the L and R.
Yeah, blanco e preto.
Yeah.
It's right there, guys. It works in all languages. So this, they say, is electromagnetism, this polarity, but really it's electricity, because electricity vibrates. To know the difference between radiation and vibration is the key. Magnetism only radiates. It vibrates when the transverse comes along. The transverse then it joins to it. It's the mother joining to the sun in the Trinity. Because remember, the first part of the Trinity that God had is always dielectricity. Never put that down here. This is the order that will get you more penetration into this science. You have to remember this Trinity. It's so important.
What does dielectricity
Rest,
mean?
motion, form.
What does dielectricity mean?
Dielectricity, well, it's rest, inertia. It's the opposite of electricity, motion. Yeah? It's diametrically opposed.
Okay.
Via. You know, it's
The resting state.
yeah.
So it's before electricity.
Yeah, it's non-electricity.
So it's
But
before the
source of
magnetism.
it.
Before
Yeah.
the
But is it the all?
Yeah, this is the field. This is all the field of ether. This is the three. The field has 3 field modalities, according to Ken Wheeler. The field, because there are no particles. Walter Russell, there ain't no particles. It's all different frequencies. Gold is different to hydrogen in frequency. That's it. Right.
I have a question. What would that trinity relate to in regards to Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus?
Yeah, it's right there.
But which one?
Pluto is dielectric.
Okay.
Neptune will be the soul, the water,
Okay.
and the firmament is the body. The firmament. Yeah?
Okay.
It's in everything. You won't escape it.
Yeah.
So, magnetism, when you get a pool of water, it's still, and you throw a pebble in the water, you are now getting a radial radiation along the surface, which is longitudinal. It's not transverse. That wave is always going this way, and it's always getting bigger. It can't diminish. Magnetism is magnitude, according to Ken Wheeler. Same word, magnitude. Magnetism is space, same word. Dielectricity is time. This is the time, remember, time, space. This is the temporospatial vehicle through which everything manifests. There's nothing other than this. This is God, this is Baal, Baal, the obelisk, Bel. Bel is beautiful. That's another reason. Proto-Celtic word Bala. Bala means apple. Bala means apple, hyperbala. There you go. Proto-Celtic. Persian. Bala means divine. Bala Krishna. He's always called Baal Krishna. Christ is also Cristobal. So hang on a minute. Let's see now. Christopher Columbus, yeah? Many Spanish people are called Cristobal, like this. Cristobal. Now, Krishna is Bala, divine, Krishna. I think they're one and the same. How does Baal get in both names?
Bala.
And then Jesus is called Yeshua, and Krishna is Ishwara. Ishwara Parama Krishna. Ishwara is Yeshua. It's all the same stuff, guys. This is Krishna, Christ. Christ is light.
Yeshua's evil, right?
Yeah. So, video and audio, God, sonoluminescence. This is vibration sound. The black and white yin and yang is transcendental sound. Here we are having mundane experiences. Where we come from, we have transcendental experiences. Here we eat physical, tangible food. There we eat transcendental food. You see this when the Chinese people give oranges and fruit on the little altar to their gods. They do this every day. But you look the next day, the orange is still there, and you think, well, why are they wasting their apples? They don't eat, the ancestors do not eat the physical form, they eat the energy, the magnetism, the torus field of the orange. Then you see the next day, you see the orange is all shrunken because the entities that eat the fruit. It's transcendental food. That's where we're going. Here we eat, have sex, sleep. It's all material. It's all slowed down in time. There it's all at once. And it's transcendental. You eat, you have activity there. Unlike what the Buddhists say that you go back to the nil, to the void. Well, I guess some people do go there. But, if you go back to Vrindavan or Vaikuntha or even Brahmajyoti, that's all activity. So we'll never lose, we'll never not be doing anything, we'll always be in motion. We'll always be magnetic, magic, magnificent, magnanimous. This goes on and on. So the higher Godhead is a monad, and then it becomes a dyad. See how the letter B in bold is the second letter? Because it denotes polarity. Both. Beth in Hebrew. Stan Tenen says Beth is just another way of saying both in English, because it's the second letter. See how gematria is important? The dyad. Now we have the demiurge. This is the source. This is the creator, you see? Adam, when Eve comes into the garden, even numbers divide. She's the divider. She divided the whole world. In that sense, she's polarized on the evil. Then when she's our beautiful mother Eve, well, she's a doubler. You see? Only there, here, between 1 and 3, only here does doubling occur in all the numbers to infinity. Only here, from Adam, odd numbers, to even numbers, Eve. And remember, numerologically, this is Adam and Eve. But in astrotheology and in science and chemistry and physics, it's the pulse and the wave. Duality is in the wave. There is no duality here. This is one, and it just grows and grows. And as this wave, radiation wave, propagates through any one of the mediums, fire, air, earth and water, it will encounter resistance. It has to. And that's where your polarity comes from. Because as this wave goes out, the water, on the top of the water, you'll see waves going like this, won't you? And they get smaller and smaller like the ocean waves, and then here's the beach, and then they stop. But here the waves, you see the transverse wave, it's a beautiful wave, very sexy, but it's inferior to this magnitude wave, which is radiation, the radiation wave, the pulse, because it has a decay factor built into it. That's why when you're in San Francisco listening to your favourite station, and then you start driving out to Sacramento, after a few minutes, as you start getting out in the burbs, crackling. Why does the radio start crackling and then you can't hear it anymore when you're in the country? Because the transverse wave, radio waves, decay. But they know that they can use the longitudinal wave, a la Tesla, and you can have radio heard from one place all around the earth on the longitudinal wave. Because they know that it's interconnected and is 10 billion times more powerful than electricity, according to Faraday and Maxwell. So, quoting John Nowelski, whom I quoted earlier, who says magnetism is divine, spiritual energy, and electricity is purely physical. It's a physical force. Vibrates. And so this is the part of, this is called electricity, red shift, blue shift. All the waves are doing that, they're flapping, but this, and diminishing, so that's inferior. So, and that shows that red shift, blue shift is inferior to black and white, which are non-vibratory. See, the Virgin is always white. Mary the Virgin. Mary Magdalene. Because the vibratory wave is polluted. It's got good and evil in it, so it's dirty. It's inferior. In all the cosmologies and all the theologies, including Gnostic Christianity, that's what it says. It says that. That this world is like, I think the Gnostic Christians call it like an abortion. That's how bad and demented they think the demiurge is. Some people will not, alter their position on that. This world is just evil and that's that. And you've got to get out of here. But there are others who are more in the middle and more balanced and realise that there's good flowing as well through. And it's just the dichotomy of this physical world and the experiences we must go through. So, and the heart, the heart, do you ever say when you meet someone nice and warm, do you ever say to them, or to someone, I met someone whose heart was so warm it was vibrating? You don't, do you? You say, what? Radiating? Oh, they were radiating. Just that person was radiating. You never say they were vibrating. See, the heart radiates. The mind and the liver create waves. The mind, thought waves. That's noise. and toxic liver with too many emotions. Oh, he wronged me, you know, and you carry those, they're demons, because they're emotion forms. Those waves, the more you recall your pain and anguish, and that, the more you create an entity. Those waveforms, they stay with you. Entities are very important to know about entities, because you create them, they're self-created as well. You enable them. And how you do that is by going over wrong thinking and negative emotions all the time. That's how it works. And so this would be, you know, in the red shift, blue shift world. So now you understand how this is the most important form to understand virtually everything. If this is the atom, which it is, then if all is atum and self-similar fractal universe, then we can see what's going on. This is the shape. And always in between, in the middle here, there's always what's called the block wall, the plane of inertia. That's where Stan Tenen put his flat Earth in our solar system. This is the solar system. And how they had the system was, this was the flat Earth. The Hindus have 7 similar disk planets below, and these are all cushioned. The Greeks said that the Earth is floating on air. Others said it was water. There was always an argument, air or water. But you know how you can suspend magnetic things? They're showing a lot of this on YouTube now. You know, you can just suspend things in the air magnetically, and they call it anti-gravity. Well, that's basically, you know, that's what the Earth magnets do. So this is all magnetic. That's why people who can't conceive of the Earth being like a plane of inertia, which it is. That's the Earth in our system, even according to Hebrew scholars. But I would have Moon, Mercury, Venus, Sun, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, the 7 planets below the firmament, and then beyond that, you see, this is like a cell. This is the cell membrane. Our solar system has a Van Allen belt. This is the Van Allen belt, if you like. They know that the ozone, they know that when they shoot HAARP, pulse beams and laser beams into the ionosphere, they know they're talking about this. It's only like about, it's a field of magnetism, it's only like about 60 miles above our head, and no rocket has ever penetrated it. So it's that powerful. No rocket has ever penetrated. The astronauts are coming forward now admitting that, you know. But people don't pick up. Even if they hear it, it doesn't register. They're running a different program, guys. Here, you have to awaken. It's the red pill. You have to awaken. You will not go back to cause unawakened. You shall never. Ignorance is the only sin. Ignorance is the only sin. There's no other sin.
Can you define sin?
Awakening is our salvation. People talk a lot about spirituality, but I reckon it's consciousness. You have to be conscious of all things. You have to know things. And this is how you get knowledge. There's no other way to ultimate knowledge other than this. There's only one system, because it's how intelligence and consciousness propagates itself to make this dream real in the universe.
It's like the holistic expression of everything, pretty much.
Yeah. Dream, Rhea, the goddess, the Dia. She is also Maya, the god of the goddess. We talk about the Mayan illusion. So Rhea gives you the dream, the illusion, but she also gives you reality. What is real? Rhea, our mother, magnetism. She makes the real world. She helps us to react I've got a whole presentation on this called The Root of All Knowledge. The Root of All Knowledge. It's about 4 different segments, and you'll see how Rhea, look at the word creator. Chronos, Rhea, and Tor. Another one of those Tor words. That's Chronos, Rhea, and Tor, the Godhead. It doesn't just turn it, it's not men doing this. They didn't sit there going, yeah, what if we put, this would be tricky, we'll make, this word have another meaning. It's already been done.
That's what the Phoenicians did that.
And the Romans with Etruscan. So, and turned it into Latin or what have you. But they were all there. It came from the first emanation. It's already embedded in the universe. Your form, physical, right now, it's the blueprint of it is in counter space. The DNA comes out called DNA, invisible DNA, and then you grow your torus field according to that DNA. DNA. Adam. ¿Quién es? Adam. DNA. And then another way of doing is nut. Alright, so we've got all mixed up here, right? So the DNA is Adam in Latin. Andros, the man, giving you Andrew, manly, who has a hand. The hand is the symbol of the human. Both mind and hand are always, mano is also mind. They have the same root, hand and mind. And we are denoted, or we are differentiated from all other creatures from our marvelous hand, which is able to artistically, we can play the guitar, we can paint things. Our hand is actually transforming the mind. So it defines human. Handros, handy Andy. You reckon someone made that up? No. It's just astrological. It just happens. No one chooses it. We just experience it. Your name is astrological. Santo, I was called Santos Bonacci. Santo means saint, means the sun. The sun exalts in Aries. I'm Aries. The sun, Santo. All your names. You tell me all your names, I'll show you how it's absolutely perfectly lined up with your sun and your moon sign and your ascendant. It all lines up. Done this many, many times. Just did a chart reading of a lady, and her name was Monica. So what's her sun sign? It's a no-brainer. Guess her star sign? Her name was Monica. Monique. Cancer, the moon. She was a Cancerian. This always happens. I see these things.
Santos,
all right.
Santos, does your last name have anything to do with Fibonacci?
Yeah, Leonardo Bonacci was called Fibonacci.
So 5.
Son of Fibonacci, because his father was...
Now, don't you think you're leaving out one word, which is the phi?
The phi ratio? No, that's in there too.
Yeah.
That's all in here.
Yeah.
Everything grows out.
Like the phi cycle.
Yeah, the 137.5 ratio.
Yeah, because like phi e, a lot of words have phi.
Yeah.
Even Phoenicians.
Yeah. The Fibonacci ratio, yeah, well, it's called the golden ratio. I usually just call it the golden section, or the golden ratio. But this is all in golden ratio. Look, see, 1.618.
Now, would that be the material realm that
Yes.
pulls us in?
Yeah. So you will always find that this red shift is always a bigger. This is a smaller one. Blue shift is small. This opening, this is like a pear shape. It's like an egg. It's never perfectly a ball. It's not perfect, a sphere. It's egg-shaped. It's just like your torso is the same. You know, you have Fibonacci ratios all throughout your body. Yeah, there is there in my hand. So, nada in Spanish is the nil, nothing. But in Hebrew it's sound. DNA, Adam, the hand, and the man, Andrew, handy Andy, and nada. You see how important the liquid and d or t, because this can also be a t, remember? How important these percussive words work with liquid words. Remember the L and R, those are the two most important liquids. L is called, the R is called the rhotic liquid, and the L is the, dang. Anyway, but this is how electricity works. Positive is those are the two sounds that create all the universe. That's redshift, blueshift right there, guys. Familiarise yourself with that. You'll be meditating down the forest, you know, you can do, because the R will give the liquid pulses, then the L will flatline, and you need the R. The R is the only letter that does this. You have to roll your R's. Even when you sing in the Seth Riggs method, which I did for about 3 years, I learned of a guy, an opera singer who came to California to be taught by the greatest, Seth Riggs, right, in voice singing. You know, the exercises that I learned, you to get up into head voice, you why? Because if you just try and sing it, a lot of people never learn how to sing and get into head voice because they get there not by this process of chopping, putting a pulse in the voice. And what's the other way? There's the and the. There's two ways, but one of them is that, by rolling the R's, and many of the greatest singers do this, you know, because it puts a little gap and it keeps the voice, vocal cords from locking. So this is what some singers experience as a problem with singing, is that they can't reach the high notes. They can, but they can't because they don't jump up to it properly and their vocal cords are locked. So that's how important this letter R is. It's all about sound math, and it enables you to get into the head voice, which is the head register, which is also creates an awakening. Singing, chanting. There's two ways of chanting. There's kirtan, which is singing. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So that's sung. But then there's the Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. And it's chanting. Both methods. Why is it so important? Because you're creating. You see, when you talk, doesn't that sound like? Doesn't talk sound like talk? Yeah, because it's the same thing. You're creating torsion field when you speak. So when you sing with intent to a certain God, you're energizing yourself with that energy. That's why you say these 32 syllables, 16 words. Hare Krishna, Hare, and each one has an R in it. Hare Krishna, Hare Rama. Why is the Maha Mantra the greatest mantra that you can utter to reach Vrindavan? Because every word has an R in it 16 times. Because that's Radharani. That's that radiating, pulsating energy, magnetism. The letter R, 666, pretty much sums up the force of magnetism. 666 is the mark of the beast, because when redshift occurs, it creates the beast. It creates a mon star. And from a mon star, moon star. Because you see, you can't incarnate past the moon if you don't got the goods. You have to have the spiritual currency. That's why Jesus says, buy gold from me so you will be saved. Because when I came to America, I had 400 Australian dollars. Couldn't use it. It's wrong currency. So I had to change it. Should have done it at the airport, I wish I did. But yeah, it's hard to change it. So when you die and you haven't done work where you've improved your file in counter space, well, you go back there and you won't go back there. You'll have to stay, you know, incarnating, and until you become a master. But it's all about being a star. See, we came from the stars, didn't we? How do we know? Because there's the star. At the start, you always start with the stars. And then you become a sister, a youngster, but you're always a stir. You'll always be a star. And that's the star in you. Alvin Boyd Kuhn says, Christianity fails to realize that the Christ atom, which is one single atom, which is your solar sun in your body, is the Christ in you. There's one atom in the heart. It's the center of the heart. And that atom is part of an octahedron. I think it's 8 original atoms. When you first started, you became your one. The egg and the sperm became one. Then you, with mitosis, what's it called when you, no, not mitosis, when it becomes 2, and then 4, and then 8. Those 8 are in your heart. And that is the Christ within. It's a sun in us. We're all illuminating bodies. The moon has her own light. The sun has its own light. You have your own light. You just cannot see it. We're all light bodies. That's the light. That's why when you make your torso holy and whole, you won't have holes in it where the entities come in. And Jesus said, if someone gets a demon exorcised, and then they don't clean their house and keep it clean, well, that demon goes off and gets 7 more demons, more evil, and then go back and return to the house that hasn't been transformed, or in other words, the individual, and it's worse for them again. And that's because they latch onto your field. You want to protect your field. You see? When you go to church, they tell you, oh, you mustn't associate with bad people. Well, Plato said if you hang around with a genius, just so much as be in their presence, you will get their consciousness. If you hang around with alcoholics and, people who are degenerate, you have to get their energy. You can't escape it. You will be polluted and defiled. This has to be pure. The path of purity is the way of salvation. So, there's many paths around and theologies in the world, but they all come from this, and they all are denoting to become pure. Pure, P-U-R. Remember, P and B are interchangeable, and R and L. It's always goes back to the bull. And pure comes from purge, pyro, to purify with fire. So what are we doing? Are we doing more questions, or is it time? Okay, so let me either continue on with this. Oh yeah, I was going to continue on, and if there's a question, just bring it out. So it's very important to understand this. There's the Trinity God, okay? And that's the triad. And so you get all these words from this. To try, from a Taurus field. Tribus, a tribe, and tribute. These are all from that base of this, the triad, and then the tetrad or the quadrad. I don't know whether there's such a word as quadrad, but yeah, it's tetrad, and tetra is 4. Yeah, and that's the 4 elements. You see, these are the 3 field modalities. This is duality, and this is source magnetism. Oh yeah, sorry, man. Yeah.
That's all right.
That's cool.
That's where they get the pyramid from. Huh?
Well, it is, and it's very, very important. I do have another. Sorry, I'm gonna have to. I'll fix that. I'm just going to go to another presentation. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this for the camera. No, we don't want that. We want bang. Okay. I've got 500 slides in this presentation, guys, which is comprehensive and exhaustive, and it proves that this is what it is. And guess what? Power now. All right. In my computer case, which is in the car, which is probably a time to not do that and just do some questions. So, because when we get back again, we're going to develop this a lot more, because there's only 2 things to develop. There's the sine wave and the torus field. And those give you all the answers you need. And what we're going to do is show you how all information is here. And then this wheel here, the natural yearly cycle, is going to just transform into an astrological chart. And that's why astrology is a science. It's based on this wave. You see, astrology deals in degrees, seconds, and minutes of arc. That's science. It's not hocus pocus and guesswork. The Egyptians had full, exhaustive explanations of every degree of the ecliptic and what they would bring to the life of the individual. And that's what we're going to get to. This is a very, very clearly accurate science. Right, we'll have a break and go and have lunch. Over the road, there's a great Mexican place. I had a burrito there yesterday. We're going to go through the monad more in detail. The dyad, the triad. There's more of the triad, there it is. And then the tetrad. And then atom. Oh boy, we're going to learn a lot of good stuff. Oh yeah, let's leave it there. Because this will be on film, and I've got so many unreleased presentations and slides that it's like it's a tome. T-O-M-E, a tome. What I've done really right now is like a tome, you know. There's so much, and that's part of it. You know. Pollux and Castor, right? Can you see Bull and Tor, the bull and the Taurus? Yeah. And one's blue and one's red, yeah? Okay. So polarized light, lux is divine light. Lux, luxury. Lumen, the moon, by the light of the moon, or cloud de la lune, is mundane light. Vibration, pulse, radiation. This is divine light. This is what all the philosophers are aspiring to, the lux. Okay? So, what happens is, polarized light is what pollux means, and pole is bowl, remember? It's a blue shift word. So, Baal, the god Baal, he's obviously this phallic, you see? The phal is the pole. And Tor is supposedly the brother who is mortal. Pollux is the divine one who saves his brother Castor, because Castor means to cast out of the Taurus field. You see? So, one of these are brothers. This is Cain and Abel. Cain is red. That's what it means. Cain, red. And Abel is, well, isn't that the word that we're talking about? Bull, Abel. So you can see Cain and Abel too. You see, Cain killed his brother. They're killing each other. You know, Esau tried to kill Jacob. You know, because you see, Cain is the midday sun, and Abel is the dark sun of the night, and they kill each other. That's one way of. This is very basic, isn't it?
Are they twins?
Yeah, they're always twins. And you can see, so Castor was cast down, and Pollux is polarizing the light, you see. So what you've got here is they are the twins, the bull and the taur. So that's how you get these words that end in all of this, you see. And then you see all of these are all similar, all of these twins. Interesting, atoms. Atom means a unit simply because of the letter A in front of Tom, because Tom means twin. Thomas, it means twin. There's no other meaning that I've ever seen in etymology for Thomas.
That's where they get the word by bull. Is that two?
Bull,
Two bulls.
exactly,
Bull,
two
yeah.
bulls.
Yeah.
The Old Testament, the New Testament. Papal bulls.
Yeah. So it's all
Congressional bills. Bill is bull.
So you can
Because
interchange
the
all
bull-
about.
Yep. You know when you speak in hyperbole? Well, that's hyperbola. Because ballistic is hyperbole in Greek is the word we say hyperbola. And it means to thrust, to overly exaggerate, to express. That's why you get rockets that are ballistic. And when you speak bull, you're speaking hyperbole, which is the hyperbola. This is the singing bell. Ding, ding, ding. This is the bell. This is the noise. This is sound.
The expansion of sound.
It's all this.
Yeah.
These units of light called atoms. All these atoms. So the A in front of Tom is called A privative or privative. I don't know which.
And that's the alpha.
I didn't go to school, so I didn't check that in the dictionary where the accent is, but I call it A privative. It privates the word of its real meaning, like Gnostic, agnostic, theist, atheist. So atom means not a twin, it's a unity. So the word has twin and unity in it. It is, the atom is the monad and the dyad and the trinity, because it is a neutron. I present to you the neutron, guys. Welcome to the neutron. If you want to know what a neutron, the neutron is, it's the plane of inertia. It's here. It's this thing. And then pro and L. Pro and L. Fission, fusion. Divergence, convergence. Centrifugal, centripetal. Ouroboros. Bore is bowl. So the serpent eating its tail is this. It's the sine wave, the sin of Eve. Eve means wave. Remember I said that's Adam and this is Eve, the wave, you see, because Eve is what makes the sexy curves on the woman and well, not that the man isn't sexy, but it's about sexuality. That's the phallic and that's the uterus. This is male and female. This is how the world gets that archetypal energy to be those polarities. Pollux. It's all about light. Video. So let's get back to them more in depth with the monad and the dyad. So that's the monad, guys. CNAD, Dan. Remember DNA, the tribe of Dan, the lost tribe of Dan? It's us. We're all the lost tribe of Dan. Adam. Brother?
I have a quick question. The neutron, does that correspond to the center point of the natal chart as well?
The line that goes horizontal on all Earth charts, natal charts, that is called the line of the Earth. Pay attention, because that's from the ascendant to the descendant. That line is called either the line of truth or the line of the Earth, according to Firmicus Maternus of the 4th century. I've always kept that in mind, because I see that that is where the stationary Earth is in the chart. When you're reading astrology, you don't see, oh, there's your moon sign, where's your Earth sign? Yeah? Well, it's the rising sign, because that line never shifts. If you use an unequal house system, variable house system, all the other cusps, all the other houses, they're moving. The MC goes like this, right? Depending on which sign is rising, either from Cancer or Capricorn, the MC will be either over here or over there. But this line here, that's the only, the first house and the 7th house cusp doesn't move. It's the Earth. Okay, that is the neutron. The neutron is it's the void. Okay, so there's always energy coming back into that, but it always loops back out, equal and opposite, simultaneously, redshift and blueshift. That's why, as Walter Russell says, there's no such thing as an electron per se. There's no such thing as, you know, bosons and all of these things. He was laughing back 50 years ago at all of this. That is ridiculous. It's all this frequency. The vibration comes from this and the pulse. This is doing everything.
That's the universe.
That's how our solar system is. We live on this plane. The plane of inertia is the planet of Earth.
But we're also inside of the universe type.
In every system, which is a cell, which is a solar system, like the cells in your body, it's like this. The tree of life is running this phallic bol. Arbol in Spanish is tree. In Latin, arbor, B-O-R. So you see the R and L are interchangeable. From Italian, arbol, yeah, arbolo to arbol. In Spanish, is the tree. And that tree is your spinal column. The tree of life is in your body, 33 degrees. And that's why you have a lumbar. Those 5 bones here, just below the 12 thoracic, 4 being Tor, Jupiter, or Jupiter Zeus with his 12 disciples. They are the 12 degrees of the discs of the thoracic, and then above that is the cervix, the 7, and the 33rd is the 7th. That's cervix means heaven. 12 is your Hercules labors through the heart, and your thoracic thorax field cage. 12 ribs on each side. As always, Arthur is 12, King Arthur is 12 knights. Yeah? Well, the lumbar, what does lumbar mean? See this tree here? Yeah? It's trees. Lum, bar, and it comes from bol. And so in every system, in every cell, in every atom, there is this tree. You see, it's this vortex. See, the North Pole is here in the Earth, and blue shift is there. That's why it's warmer than the South Pole. The South Pole is around here, around the Earth. If you look at Stan Tennant's video, The Dance of the Alphabet, the Hebrew scholar, he shows you it's right there. This is the tree of life, and that would be the South Pole. Very, very cold, where redshift is happening. Blue shift is compression, therefore it's warm, loving light. See?
Wouldn't the compression be in the center, and then the expansion would be on both ends of the?
They're going both ways simultaneously, but there is one.
But in opposite order, like so, one's going this way, and then the other one's going the opposite.
Equal and opposite all the time.
Yeah. So it's like a battery.
It's always two. It's never one thing. Remember, you can't go point line. You go.
But it
point
is,
lines.
it is one unit though, of two.
This is the smallest unit, like the hydrogen atom.
Yeah.
Even smaller, is way smaller, and the universe. This is the universe.
Yeah, okay. It's one and the same.
All the ancient
And we're
traditions
just
tell
in the-
us.
we're in
You
the
see
middle.
always a tree of life. You always see the hellish planets down below where redshift is. This is your sacral torso right at the perineum, you see. And you see that's, and then going up, you see, so the colours of hell, what are they? All associated with yellow, orange and red. You see, and you look at the numbers of the petals. Pay attention to the numbers. There's 4 petals here, of course. Of course your bottom chakra has 4 petals. Foundation. Chair has 4 legs. That's why you meditate on your bottom. You know, your legs, because you want that tree of life grounded into the plane of inertia. You want it grounded on this plane, the plane of inertia, the planet of Earth. You know, terra firma. Terra is Torah. Torus field. Of course, because of Torus fields makes terra firma. It's the same word. Tor is in everything. Turbulence. Taurus ball. Terrible. Taurus ball. It's in all our words, guys. You can't escape it now. You'll be seeing it everywhere. You'll see it everywhere. And this is a derivation of atum, all is atum, the D dispersion. So, and they all teach this tree, you see. This is the Yggdrasil of the Nordics, you see. And Thor is responsible always for chopping down the tree or whatever, or saving humanity, falling, getting hung, getting crucified. Well, it's Jupiter Zeus, Jesus, or Thor, the Taurus field. The Taurus field is always being castored out by Pollux and Castor. So that the polarities always flip, as George Carey writes in The Salts of Salvation, because that's where I'm headed for health and how salt is all about. It's all about salts. Magnesium, your body's magnesium, sodium, etc. Right? Those are salts. You are a pillar of salt. So he says Pollux is good on the one side because it's Pollux. He's divine, of course, but then if he flips over polarity, he's polluted. Because light, lumen, your mundane light, it's because it vibrates and it's a transverse wave, a resistance wave. It's inferior. It's, in theology, it's considered, dirty, unclean, and to be cleansed and to be purified, to return to the pulse, the heart. The heart radiates. So that's why they say, stay in the heart. That's where the bliss is. Bliss. Bull. B-I-L. So, Yggdrasil tree, I forgot where I was going. Yeah, Thor. So that's Thor, and he always has 12 followers. Always 12. Why? Because energy is expressed along this ecliptic, along this wave, not in duality, it's in 12 different conditions. And this is where we're headed with astrology. In astrology we have 4 elements: fire, air, earth and water. And that is plasma, gas, liquid and solid. Those are the interchangeables. Then we have 3 ways of those 4 elements expressing themselves. They are called modes. And they are cardinal, fixed and mutable. So let's discuss those so that we can understand how all energy waves are 12ness. In nature, everything is born, grows and dies. That's cardinal, fixed, mutable. Simple. So how is water cardinal, fixed and mutable? Well, you could say when it's ice, it's in one condition. When it's liquid, it's in another. When it's gas, it's in another. I would say the gas vapor would be mutable. But here's a good way of understanding the difference between cardinal, fixed and mutable. If you've got a fire hose, the pressure of the water is very condensed and it's very strong. It's explosive. You put your finger in there and It's powerful. Okay, that would be cardinal. Cardinal means, cardinal in Latin means hinge, a cardine. So it's a hinge, it's a door opener. So all the cardinal points, like we discussed,